Well. Happy 2014. Welcome aboard, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here with the first live show of 2014. Today is January 2nd, 2014, and I'm happy to announce that my intention is to be with you here for the long haul. And by July of this year, if not sooner, we're going to parlay the radio program into a 3-hour spot every day, because your response has been so fantastic. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank, from the bottom, middle, and top of my heart, everybody in Longevity Nation worldwide, everybody in Team Glidden, all insiders of FireYourMDNow.com, and all of the people whom they have suggested listen to this radio show. If you're a brand newcomer, brand spanking new, first time you're listening to this radio show, thanks for spending some time with me this afternoon. If you're listening to the podcast, thanks even more, because you've taken time out of your life when you're not working, in your downtime, to hang out with me and Longevity Nation and Team Glidden, because you're motivated by the truth and also action-oriented. People that are listeners of this radio program are into making a difference in their world, whether it's a small difference, a medium-sized difference, a big difference, or a huge difference, like Norman D., like Abby, like Donis, like Corey, like Ashley, like Duffy, like Forrest, like the Commander, like everybody else in Longevity Nation, all around the world. Alina and Raul in Miami. The list goes on and on and on. Longevity Nation is inhabited by human beings who exemplify the meaning of the word human beings. There's not enough humanity going around these days. For goodness sakes, you turn on TV, what's it about? It's about, there's a war here, and there's a war there, and there's a murder here, and there's a murder there, and this politician was caught with his pants down, literally. It's a world of corruption, seems endless corruption everywhere you look, at least if you're going to believe the evening news. However, if you've had enough of that, if you know that there is, in fact, a great deal more to being a human being, if you know, in fact, that the people who commit atrocities, that the people who screw up, that the people who are dishonest are in the minority. They seem to get all the headlines. But if you know that they are in the minority, if you know that the majority of living, breathing human beings are kind-hearted, decent people, if you know that, if that's your experience of the world, then welcome aboard. Because that's the type of people that are attracted to this program. People that like people that are interested in helping people that are willing to pay it forward, people that are willing to think outside of the conventional norm, people who are smart enough not to have the wool pulled over their eyes by corporate lies and by pharmaceutical shenanigans. Corporate lies and pharmaceutical profiteering. 100 years of MD-directed medical domination have left us all in pain and suffering. You got a symptom? I don't care. You have a symptom? You bothered by a symptom? You have heartburn? You have depression? You have restless legs at night in bed? You have these aches and pains that just won't go away? You've got a bum back? Got a bum shoulder? Got a bum knee? Got high blood pressure? Got something wrong? Sex drive out the window? Moody? Emotional? Can't think straight, can't concentrate properly, forget your name, forget where you're driving, forget why you came into the kitchen. You afflicted with a symptom? Well, you're not alone. Most people in this country are, and the symptomatic expression of an imbalance in the human body is showing up in younger and younger and younger age brackets. Teenagers now are regularly afflicted with arthritis. Did you know that? College students now regularly afflicted with arthritis. That's just unacceptable. Infertility is on the rise. High blood pressure unchanged, arthritis rates unchanged in the adult population. Don't even get me started about obesity. It's become the new normal. They're even making TV shows about it now. What's that TV show? I forget the name of it. It's with the morbidly obese couple. And, you know, they're hanging out and they're trying to make the most of it, and they're trying to make it seem like being unbelievably overweight is like a good and healthy thing. You know, it's just a throw of the dice. That's all that it is. Well, this is the height, the breadth, and the depth of insanity. It's a crazy country. When you boil it right down to the nuts and bolts, most people don't know what to do. Most people don't know what to do as far as their health is concerned. Most people need to know what to do. Most people rely on their MD. Everybody pays medical insurance now. If you don't, the government's going to fine you. You've got to buy into the system. But your medical insurance doesn't give you access to naturopathy, doesn't give you access to homeopathy, doesn't give you access to chiropractic, doesn't give you access to acupuncture, doesn't give you access to anything except MD-directed medical treatments. Now, who wrote that law? Who was smart enough to get that law passed? I mean, wouldn't you love it if you had your own private independent business? You know, you owned an auto shop, you owned a transmission store, you had an auto body shop, you had a gasoline station, you had a convenience store, you had an insurance business, you were a lawyer, and the government passed a law that said that the only lawyers that could practice in your state were you. Nobody else gets to practice law there except you. Nobody else gets to sell groceries in your town except you. Nobody else gets to sell gasoline or service automobiles except you. Wouldn't that be awesome? Well, it would be awesome for you. Not so awesome for everybody else. Well, that's exactly what's happened in the medical theater here in the United States and in Canada and in Europe. The only medicine that you have access to, the only medicine that your insurance pays for, the only medicine that's practiced in your hospital, and the only medicine that they teach you about in school is MD-directed medicine. And MD-directed medicine is failed. It is a failed system based on an outdated philosophy of healing, which views the human body in a kind of crazy way. It's completely out of sync with reality. I mean, an MD's relationship to the human body is like a cartographer's relationship to the Earth if they thought that the Earth was flat. If you went to a map maker or a travel agent and they thought that the Earth was flat, it would be a pretty difficult experience, wouldn't it? They'd be flying you all over creation just to get you from point A to point B because they think the Earth is flat and you can't just go around it or can't go up and over it. Well, that's exactly why MD therapeutics fail. Not because they're bad people, not because they're malevolent, not because they're psychopaths, not because they're money-grubbing industrialists, but because they're intellectually cowardly and their therapeutics are based on an old-fashioned, outdated philosophy of healing. It's an old-fashioned, outdated philosophy of healing. They think that the Earth is flat, kind of, sort of. They think that the human body doesn't know how to fix itself, and you have heartburn because you have stomach. You have heartburn because you have stomach acid, not because there's an imbalance in your stomach acid, because you have stomach acid, and the body is an imperfect machine. You have high blood pressure not because there's an imbalance in the metabolism of your body, but because you have a heart and you have blood vessels. You have cancer just because that's life. Shut up and deal with it and take your chemotherapy. You have arthritis because joints decay and that's just life. And they're absolutely positively wrong. They're absolutely positively wrong. We help people overcome these things all of the time. All of the time. So this is the problem. We've aligned ourselves with a failed therapeutic. But because that therapeutic is in the monopoly, we don't know that there's anything else to do. And it doesn't help that the people in the driver's seat, the doctors, the American Medical Association, the pharmaceutical industry, the insurance industries, and the hospital industries, paint everybody else as a back-of-the-bus quack. You've been told for 100 years that naturopathic medicine is quackery, that homeopathic medicine is quackery, that herbal medicine is quackery, that acupuncture is quackery, that the only medicine paying attention to is MD-directed medicine, and you've bought it hook, line, and sinker because you continue to go to the MD, even though their therapeutics fail you, even though their therapeutics harm you, even though their therapeutics bankrupt you, and even though their therapeutics kill you. We continue to take the wrong dog to the hunt, in large part because they've done a very, very, very good job of convincing everybody that everybody but them is the back of the bus quack, when in point of fact it's exactly the opposite. The only people selling snake oil in the world have MD after their name. The only people selling snake oil have MD after their name. Vioxx kills 500,000 people. Vioxx kills 500,000 people, and nobody goes to jail. Antidepressant liver injury, underreported. This new from Medscape.com. Medscape.com. Antidepressant-induced liver injury is underestimated. By Megan Brooks, December 31st, 2013. I quote, "All antidepressant drugs may potentially cause liver injury, even at recommended doses, and some groups are more vulnerable than others," French researchers report. Antidepressant liver toxicity has been underestimated in the scientific literature, says Gabriel Perlmutter, MD, PhD, from the Hospital Bizerte, Kremlin Bizerte, France, and colleagues. In some cases, antidepressant-induced liver injury can be irreversible. Given that there is currently no strategy available to prevent antidepressant-induced liver injury, early detection and prompt drug discontinuation remain critical. Even though for low-grade depression, the research clearly shows that placebo is better than Prozac. MDs continue to give Prozac, and guess what happens? Your liver burns. Ladies and gentlemen, the single best thing you, me, or anybody else in the world can do when it comes to your health is fire your MD. They do not know what's best for you. We do. Tune in, turn on, get educated, and let's take your health back. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Stick around. I swear to God, I must have the easiest job in the world because it's the gift that keeps on giving. And this speaks volumes to what I was alluding to in my monologue in the beginning. Let me read you a little bit more from this Medscape article about the relationship between antidepressants and liver disease. Based on the evidence, the antidepressants associated with the higher risk of hepatotoxicity are monoamine oxidase inhibitors, tricyclic antidepressants, nefazodone, bupropion, duloxetine, augmentin. Those with seemingly lower risks are blah, 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 although no dose-response relationship has been clearly demonstrated. It is best to stick to the minimum effective dosages of antidepressants and to remove them immediately when liver enzymes become elevated. Now, this is interesting. Because remember, the MD doesn't think that the body has any inherent built-in wisdom. The MD doesn't think that the body can fix itself. The MD doesn't think that really the body has any clue as to what's going on. It's all just a biochemical jumble. It's just a jumble. That's all that it is. So when they deliver, and remember, their therapeutics are reductionistic. The MD is trained that the body is a machine made of parts that really one part doesn't have that much to do with the other part, and their job is to do diagnostic discovery, X-ray, CT, MRI, ultrasound, blood work, urinalysis, stool analysis, to figure out what part of the body is problematic. And then they deliver a medicine for that part of the body, so that's why everybody's on 25 bazillion meds. Right? Because you get one med for your blood pressure, one med for your anxiety and panic, one med for your insomnia, one med for your urinary frequency, one med for your heartburn, et cetera, right? It's piecemeal, reductionistic treatment. The body is not connected, and it's the doctor's job to give each piece a treatment. And remember, the treatments don't cure anything. The treatments just manage the illness. This is how they're trained to look at the human body. And because they're disciples of the reductionistic method, and because they don't really have any intellectual wherewithal, because they just haven't taken their head up from their desks and looked around, because they just agree with everything that all their colleagues say all of the time, because they're muggles. They're muggles. They are muggles. Because they're muggles, they miss a whole bunch of data points that are right in front of their face and which screw everything up. So, when they deliver an antidepressant and it messes up your liver, they think nothing of it. If I delivered a treatment and it had a negative effect on somebody's liver, I would think a great deal about that. Because from my point of view, everything is connected. And so if one therapeutic delivered to a holistic, living, breathing human being gums up the works so much that one part of the body fails. I mean, that's a pretty major side effect, right? Liver failure, it's a pretty major side effect. I would revisit my therapeutics completely, but the MDs don't. The MD's recommendation is use lower doses of antidepressants and measure the liver enzymes more frequently. And when the liver enzymes start to accelerate, you stop the antidepressants. Instead of thinking, ladies and gentlemen, we need to rethink this whole antidepressant thing in the first place because the body is a complex system of interrelated parts. And we're screwing up one part of it. That must mean there is an inherent flaw with the therapeutic. There's an a priori flaw with the therapeutic. But no, they do not think that because they're lost in the world of reductionism. You know, it's like they've got sunglasses on. They've forgotten they've got them on. They've got rose-colored glasses on. Everything has a rosy tint to it. But they've had them on for so long that they forget that they have them on, and they just accept the fact that everything has a rosy tint, and, well, it doesn't. Or my favorite metaphor, they're colorblind art critics who don't know that they're colorblind. Their therapeutics are based on an old-fashioned, outdated therapeutic understanding, philosophical understanding of the human body that is completely wrong. They're missing one giant datum point. The one giant datum point that the MDs miss, can't even conceptualize, is the fact that the human body has God-given intelligence, that the human body is an intelligent, self-regulating, multifaceted, holistic organism, that everything's connected. The human body knows how to fix itself. The human body wants to fix itself. And most of the time, the only reason that things break down is not because you have a drug deficiency, but because you have a nutrient deficiency and you're consistently eating the wrong food. It's gumming up the works. Ladies and gentlemen, they've thrown the baby out with the bathwater, and how much more of this nonsense are you going to have to put up with before you yourself fire your MD and get on the longevity train? I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, going to South Carolina, and Kathy when we come back. Stick around. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the first live show of 2014. 2014. The year that will change everything. You mark my words. Let's go to South Carolina and see what's shaking with Kathy. Hey, Kathy, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Okay. Hi, Dr. Glidden.
Hey, Kathy, thanks for calling. How can I help?
Yes, I have been on your product, the Healthy Start Pack, since about October the 12th, and so, but I just recently found out the day after Christmas that I'm pregnant.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. And so I was wondering, should I continue taking the product, the 3 products that are in the Healthy Start Pack, and how much should I drink or take? And I'm 40 years old, and I'm 140 pounds. And I did stop drinking it because I was unsure if I should continue.
All right, good girl. Well, this was the luckiest couple of months of your life. But before I get into that, let me just say that for the record, I think that Dr. Glidden is a very good name for a child. Just so you know, just so you could consider that. Just so you know.
Okay. Okay.
Now, the other thing is, from our point of view, based on tens of millions of dollars of federally funded research and decades of clinical experience by the most brilliant mind in holistic medicine, Dr. Joel Wallach, our position is that the vast majority, if not all, of birth defects are caused by nutrient deficiencies in the womb while the baby is developing, right? Because you think about it. The baby's body is developing. It's growing like a flower. And the baby's body can't grow on fairy dust and pixie dust. the baby's body needs raw materials to grow. And the raw materials are either present in your body or they're not. Now, we know that the nutrients, the 90 essential nutrients that the human body needs, are not 100% present in the food that we eat. Quite frankly, we're lucky if we get 30 or 40% of the body's nutrient needs met just by eating from food. So our position is that everybody must supplement with the 90 essential nutrients appropriate for their body weight every day. And you got lucky, because what we recommend is for 2 or 3 months before you even think about getting pregnant, you nutrify your body appropriate for body weight with the 90 essential nutrients. Because once the conception has happened, the baby is growing and cells are multiplying all of the time. From the very moment of conception until birth, well, quite frankly, for the child's entire life, but especially in the first 9 months, nutrient needs are huge. Nutrient needs are huge. So, from our point of view, you've dodged a gigantic bullet here by having a nutrified body when you got pregnant. And the recommendation, of course, here is to maintain the supplement program. The only thing that I would recommend is what you could do. So what's your current body weight?
It's 140.
All right. So I would take a 150-pound dose. I would take a 150-pound dose. And here's what that would look like. It's 1 scoop of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine 3 times a day. 1 scoop of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine 3 times a day.
Okay.
5, 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be hard to do. No, it wouldn't. You have 5 EFA plus a day. 5 EFA plus a day.
5 EFA plus a day?
Yeah, the EFA plus, little fish oil capsules that are part of the Healthy Start Pack.
Okay.
5 of those a day. And the white liquid calcium, I'd like to see you do 2 ounces a day. 2 ounces a day of that.
Okay.
All right. So now, the only other thing that I would add to this would be selenium. I would get 3 bottles of selenium, and I would take 9 a day. Right?
Okay.
So you're going to need
9 a day?
9 a day of the selenium. Yep.
Okay.
9 a day of the selenium. Now, if your weight increases beyond 150 pounds when you're pregnant, you just need to take a little bit more. Just take a little bit more. Go up to 4 scoops of Beyond Tangy Tangerine and go to 6 EFAs a day, right? So more is better in this regard. It's really almost impossible to overdose with this stuff. And you need it when you're pregnant. Now, have you been pregnant before?
Yes, I have. But my son, he's 15 years old, so it's been a long time.
Okay. Yeah, all right. So you might have a very different relationship to your pregnancy when you go through it with a body that's completely nutrified, right?
Right.
Now, I'll give you a little insider information here. If nausea and vomiting in the first trimester is a problem, get some ginger oil, and put it inside your belly button.
Okay.
A couple of drops of ginger oil inside the belly button when you feel nauseous, and see if that doesn't cut down or completely eliminate the problem. I've seen that particular therapeutic work absolute wonders for the nausea and the vomiting of pregnancy. But notwithstanding that, the only thing that you need to do is continue the supplement discipline appropriate for your body weight. But I do have to warn you of one thing. You're going to have a super baby. I mean, no kidding. Your kid is he's going to be above weight. He's going to be a very well-adjusted baby. He's going to be a pleasure to be with. He's not going to be whiny. He's not going to be fussy. He's not going to be moany. Heaven forbid, he's not going to have any birth defects. You don't have to worry about autism. You don't have to worry about Down syndrome or any of that nonsense, because no matter what your age, our position is that 100% of birth defects, including the autistic array, the autistic spectrum, are caused by nutrient deficiencies, and longevity provides you with 100% of your body's nutrient needs in extremely absorbable fashion. Have you gone gluten-free yet?
haven't. And so that's been a problem because you mentioned the nausea. I haven't been vomiting, but I've had every day I would just feel nauseated, and I just feel like weak. I have no energy, and I feel like all the energy's been zapped. And
Yes. So your energy should bounce back once you reestablish once you start the vitamins again.
Okay.
And you have to take it easy on your digestive tract.
Okay.
And the easiest way to take it easy on your digestive tract is to give up the 10 bad foods.
Okay.
Now, what part of the country do you live in? What part of South Carolina?
Anderson.
All right. Is there a Whole Foods or any health food stores around your neck of the woods?
There is in Greenville. I'm close to Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah, all right. So you want to take a weekend trip up there and stock up on gluten-free pasta, gluten-free bread, gluten-free cookies and crackers. It's not that you can't eat stuff that's fun to eat. It's just it has to be gluten-free.
Okay.
I mean, we had gluten-free crepes. We had gluten-free crepes for New Year's Day, and they were delicious. So you just have to get flour that's gluten-free. You have to get bread that's gluten-free. You have to get cookies and crackers and pasta that's gluten-free, but it's easy. I'm telling you, it's easy.
Okay.
And when you knock that stuff off, you're going to feel a lot better. Your digestive tract is going to be a lot stronger. And once you get the nutrients back in the body, the energy should bounce right back.
Okay. And is that all that I need to be taking right now? It's just the Healthy Start Pack and adding the
selenium. Absolutely. Yeah, that is a 100% fantastic program. The only other thing I would recommend you do is eat food that's high in cholesterol.
Okay.
So don't be shy of full-fat milk and full-fat yogurt and, butter and eggs, and make sure you're salting your food so that it tastes good. And if you've got all that dialed in, then life is good.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, hey, my pleasure. Thanks for calling. Give us a call back and let us know how it's going. All right, I'll look forward to it. Thanks, Kathy.
Okay.
All right, from South Carolina to my stomping ground, my current stomping ground, Illinois. Let's talk to Ben and see what he's up to. Hey, Ben, thanks for the call. You are live.
Thank you for Dr. Glidden for taking my call today. I'm actually calling for a friend who had hemorrhoids that have now turned into a fissure.
Oh, I hate it when that happens. Ouch.
They're talking surgery. They're talking CT scans. They're talking contrast dye, things like that.
It's nonsense. Well, number one, you can't never unsurgery something. Number two, sometimes conditions are surgical emergencies and sometimes they're not, right? So,
that's correct.
And, if surgery is necessary, then I don't know, I'm making numbers up, but 75% of the time the MDs are good at it, and they don't screw it up, and they actually do a good job with it because, remember, that's their wheelhouse, right? So the only question before the board here is whether or not the surgery is, in fact, necessary and mandatory. Now, the MDs are going to tell this guy that surgery is his only hope, and he might as well just have the surgery now rather than put it off, because what are you going to wait for? Because your body can't fix it, and your only hope is surgery. That's what they're going to tell him. So if it's not, because that's all that they know, right? So if it's not a life-threatening emergency, right, if there's not a possibility of an infection, depends on how deep the fissure is, depends on its anatomical location, depends on how nasty the fissure is, right? Sometimes the body can get on the other side of it with medical nutrition. Sometimes it can't. Either way, this guy's going to need a full round of medical nutrition because from our point of view, he didn't get hemorrhoids, which turned into a fissure because he had a digestive tract, right? You don't get this stuff just because, you need to go to the bathroom. That's not how it works. So from our point of view, of course, a hemorrhoid, which then goes into a fissure, is a fulfillment of chronic nutrient deficiencies, especially copper, especially the trace mineral copper. So he needs to nutrify his body whether he has surgery or not, because if he doesn't, it's only a matter of time until he pops another hemorrhoid, because that's just the way that it goes. So if it were me, I would get a second opinion from another surgeon and say, look, man, I want to try to fix this with non-surgical methods. How long do I have? Is this a big problem? Do I need to intervene immediately? Because I really want to try something else. And how many months do you think I have here? And I would have him get a second opinion on that. Now, if he's good to go, with waiting, which they'll be able to tell him when they look at it, then the recommendation to support and promote the structure and function of his connective tissue would be the Healthy Start Pack and selenium and HGH Youth Complex appropriate for body weight. The Healthy Start Pack, selenium, and HGH Youth Complex appropriate for body weight. It's never a bad idea in a case like this to add Z-Radical into the bargain. Z-Radical. I'd do 4 bottles a month of Z-Radical if I could, but really the secret sauce here, of course, would be selenium. Oh, and I almost forgot. Glucogel. Glucogel appropriate for body weight. Glucogel appropriate for body weight. 1 capsule for 10 pounds per day. I would do that for 90 days. Keep my fingers crossed and see what happens. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate your support. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around. We're talking to Mammy from Texas next. La 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 la. Well, it had to happen. Mammy's calling from Texas. Come on, Mammy. Thanks for the phone call.
Mammy.
Are live.
Hi, it's Mamie. I met you back in July of last year with Raymond Yolanda's group.
Oh, I remember you.
Yeah. Well, I haven't had a chance to come back because I've been fluctuating back and forth with the Coumadin. But the latest thing that has happened is just before Christmas, I ended up being hospitalized, told later that I had a fatty liver because I had scapular pain real bad, and they said my liver enzymes were up. Now, it's not due to alcoholism. They wouldn't say, but they were just saying I had to watch my weight, and they wouldn't take anything. I'm not to take anything. They're not going to give me any medications that affect my liver. So I was wondering, what can I do to get this under control? It's not bothering me now. It took a week. Within a week, I was feeling better.
All right. Well, the most common cause of elevated liver enzymes is a drug reaction. So what prescription medications are you taking?
I'm on Coumadin. That was the only thing I was on, Coumadin 10 milligrams a day.
Yeah, okay. So you want to do a Google search and see if liver funkiness, that if there are any side effects to the liver with Coumadin. I can't remember off the top of my head whether there are, but if there are, you can read all about them. That's the first thing to consider. The second thing to consider is a history of tattoos. Do you have any tattoos?
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and you're not a heavy drinker, right?
No, not at all.
Not at all, yeah. So the first thing to think about it's a reaction to Coumadin. I would double check that. That information should be readily available online. Now, notwithstanding that, I love helping people with liver trouble because one of the naturopathic therapeutic rules is, when in doubt, treat the liver, because the liver is extremely the liver is like a big intersection in the body, and everything feeds through the liver. I mean, the liver has a big job to do, and if the liver isn't right, nothing's going to be right. And one of the things you can do the liver will actually regenerate its own tissue. You can surgically remove over 70% of it, and the liver will grow back. It's the only organ that will do that. So there's stuff that you can do to support and promote it's called hepatoneogenesis, the generation of new liver tissue, and to get on the other side of elevated liver enzymes. So here's what it is, what we recommend to support and promote healthy liver function. It's easy. The recommendation, Mamie, is 1 bottle of selenium per 50 pounds per month. 1 bottle of selenium per 50 pounds per month. And don't do more than 4 bottles. How much do you weigh, Mamie?
Well, they told me this time I'm up to 290, and I said, wow, that's a lot. because I came out of the hospital last year at 270.
Yeah, now you got to stop eating the 10 bad foods. You need to do that.
Right. And I've ridden of that except for, like the lady said, sometimes you want a little bread, but I can't find the gluten-free breads too easily.
Well, you can order them online. You can order the gluten-free breads online. And if you live anywhere near a Whole Foods, you can get together with some other people in your community who are longevity people and make a pilgrimage once a month to, the next town over, stock up on gluten-free bread. At the Costco, at our location here in the suburbs of Illinois, they sell gluten-free bread for a really great price. So at the Costco. Go figure. So you can find it, but in any event, the recommendation, you got to do that, Mamie, or it's going to be really hard for the medical nutrition to work, right? So just bite the bullet and make 2014 your year of going gluten-free. I'm telling you, you're going to love how you feel. So the recommendation is the selenium. So I'd have you do 4 bottles of selenium a month, 4 bottles of selenium a month, and 3 bottles of Prohoba Hepol, Hepol, 3 bottles of Prohoba Hepol. You should only need to do the 3 bottles of Prohoba Hepol for 1 month, though. So do 3 bottles of Prohoba Hepol for the month of January. Do 4 bottles of selenium from now on. Eliminate the 10 bad foods. You're going to love how you feel. Once you give your liver the nutrients it needs, it's going to regenerate itself to a remarkable degree, and you are going to love how you feel. Thanks for the phone call. Second hour coming up, folks. Stick around.